What's up, guys? It's John with National Sports Entertainment, and I want to run through tonight's games. We had a good night last night, do our recap, and we did lose a leg 3 Jets-Coyotes. I had them going over, and it was more because of the Jets. The Jets were just terrible on the over. We didn't get that one, but we did wind up doing well. We went 7 out of 10, and a good one. As I was going over yesterday, we got Thunder on leg 2. And they were paid about $215. You might have got anywhere from $205 to $225, depending on when you got in. But it was a 2-to-1 payout. So to get that on a leg 2 is nice. We did get our Hawks cover, which is nice. And we just, in general, did pretty good. Good bounce back day. So we have a couple more plays tonight as far as basketball goes because there's a full schedule. I did miss the Magic yesterday, which annoys me because if you guys watch my videos and know how I come to my picks, I just didn't see the game. And, yeah, the Magic made much more sense because now the Magic aren't out of the playoffs. You can see now they're only 2.5 games out. So, yeah, that's basically what I do with my picks. But, yeah, I overlooked that one yesterday. But we got Skull and Bones Day, so this should be interesting. And right off the bat, so we got Nuggets, Wizards, and on this one I like the Wizards for the cover. I think they have the upset value. If you look, we got like 6. You could say 6, 7 about playing pretty good on upsets. If you're getting 5 points or more, it's going to be pretty good value. And then on top of that, we got some getting really good value, where we got the Memphis here, the Milwaukee spread, Toronto spread, and the Denver spread. So we can imagine of those games, you're going to have an upset or two. Yesterday, actually, we called the only upset, which was cool. The Thunder was the only upset that we were able to predict. So I've been trying to watch the dogs more. But I like the Wizards here for the cover and the possibility of a win, but I just like the cover. They don't need to win this game. Knicks, Heat, I like the Heat to cover. I don't think too many people are going to be on them. And as high as I am on the Knicks, I've been pretty off with the Blazers. I've been pretty off with the Kings. But I did have the Knicks and Wizards getting in, and I still think the Wizards do. And as far as the Knicks, I still have them getting in, of course. But I think they're going to get flipped by the Heat. I just think it makes sense. I actually think they're going to wind up playing each other, to be honest. They're going to be like 4-5 or something, because I just did a couple different scenarios, and otherwise the Knicks are going to wind up playing 2 division teams that they've played already, or whoever they play with whether it's like the first round will most likely be a division team. So I think it would make more sense if the Heat were able to flip them. And I just think, again, there's going to be more people on the Knicks here than the Heat. Pacers, Raptors, I like the Pacers. I'll take them. It's because again, I think it makes more sense if we have a lot of upset potential games, and this one would make sense if I'm going to take the cover, of course. I'll take the points. But just because if they win this game again, then now they're only 2 games out. But the East is a lot closer. Whereas the Raptors win, and now you're basically knocked out the Magic. The Wizards are going to be several games out. And it's going to be a lot tougher. So I think they're going to want to keep it closer. So for that reason, I do have the Pacers with the cover. Mavs, I like them to cover because I just don't see anybody on them. And since I don't think anyone's going to be on them, it's just, ESPN game. They've looked horrible. I think it's going to be a lot of public on the Warriors. And they're, again, Mavs terrible against the spread. I like that. I always take the team that's terrible against the spread. Sixers, Bulls. I like the Bulls. I think it's a light spread. At first, I liked the Sixers because I thought the Bulls losing would keep the East a little closer, but they're not all going to win and lose in unison. So I also try and pick out who makes the most sense. But most importantly, it's Skull and Bones Day. And number 23, for the Bulls, I think they're going to win. You think of Jordan. So that's the biggest reason I actually did that I edged it to the Bulls. That and the line. I think 3.5 is very light. So I actually went with the money line for the Bulls, just because I think it's worth playing. 135. I'd imagine if they lose, they probably won't cover either, but they'll probably win. I just have a feeling. Rockets, Grizzlies, here's another one. You're working with a lot of points, so that it could be difficult. And then you have Ja, and you have Ja being out for Memphis, so people might be fading Memphis, you never know. But here I do like Houston for the cover. I think it's a decent bit of points, and people aren't going to want to give up that many points. Now, speaking of giving up that many points, we got the Bucks here at 17.5. And I think, once again, whereas with the Grizzlies, you have a team at home, and 12.5, it's a good bit of points, but I still think it's worth taking the Rockets because, again, it's the Rockets. So even 12.5, I just don't think people are going to care about that many points. I don't think it's going to make that much of a difference. So that's why I like the Grizzlies. But the next one, it's like they're begging us to take the Spurs. 17.5 is just insane. So I imagine this line probably started at like 13.5 and moved. And you could argue it's a clip, but that's what makes me like the Bucks to cover, but not the Grizzlies. Because I look at the lines and it just doesn't make sense to me. I'm not saying the Grizzlies are as good as the Bucks, but 12.5 and then this one jumps to 17. So when looking at spreads, I also try and look at, like yesterday, ones that would kill teasers. And who are people, more likely to be on here? The Bucks minus 10.5 if they're running a teaser, or the Spurs getting 24.5. To me, I think anyone's going to take the Spurs getting 24. So now the Rockets one, they'd be getting 19.5. The Grizzlies would only be given 5. That one's a little more normal, but my point is, I think 17.5 is just insane. So I like the Bucks for that reason. And then where the Grizzlies looks more realistic, and I think the Rockets they've done some upsets, but I'll take the Rockets with the points. So on both those games, I'm laying the points obviously with the Bucks, and I'm going to take the points with the Rockets. I'm not going to play for the upset. I don't think they're going to pay out crazy ones today. Then that brings us to the Hawks T-Wolves. I like the Hawks for the cover, and it's pretty simple. I don't think the Wolves are going to run ahead of the pack. Same reason I didn't have certain teams winning yesterday. I don't think the Wolves, Jazz, I don't think these teams are going to run away and have teams like the Thunder, Blazers, really trying to basically out of it or trying to, have to go on a crazy winning streak to win. So for that reason, I like the Hawks cover. And with that same logic, I like the Blazers to win. Again, I just think that there's going to be enough people fading the Blazers. It was brought up in my Discord. I was talking to Hutch. He posted a lot of good insight and intel, and he went over that. There's a lot of public. He doesn't love the Blazers himself. He's staying away, and I don't blame him. There's a couple games this year we've talked about with the Blazers, and they wound up getting creamed. I'm still riding with them now, and so you could, if it's one of those where you don't want to play it, I get it. But I think they're gonna, they win this game. They're 2.5, 3 games out. They lose this game, they're basically out of the playoffs with 10 games to go. So I just don't see them doing that. Then Suns-Lakers is very close. I was going back and forth. This is the reason I wanted this one. I really thought the Lakers were going to. I always have a pretty similar approach with the Lakers. I take them in games that they shouldn't win, and I fade them on games when they should win. And it's been working out great for us. Now, them winning, they would kind of pull ahead as far as the playoffs. I had them going on a later season run when LeBron returned and it being close. So a win here, it's not like they're running away with anything, but they'd be ahead. They'd be in the playoffs. And I still don't have them getting in, believe it or not. I have them getting losing by heartbreak. But tonight specifically, just because it is the Suns on ESPN, I think you have to make the Lakers win this game. I like it enough to play it, I guess, like 3 because, again, you have no AD, you have no LeBron. Yeah, Ayton's out. I think KD's out. KD's definitely out. But still, I just don't see people in an even matchup here. You still got Booker. You still got Payne, Paul. I just don't see people all over the Lakers. So I think the Lakers are a great team here to take for those reasons. Again, they're going to win when they shouldn't. They're going to lose when they shouldn't. And against some of these tough Western matchup opponents, I think they're going to have them look good. So, again, nothing crazy. Like I said, that I did Lakers, Suns here. Like I said, of all my basketball plays, it's my favorite. I thought about playing it as leg 3, but since we have so many plays, I decided leg 2 is fine. And that was all right, so I'll plug it in for the Panthers cover Flyers. And I always tell people, you don't have to do my exact increments. This is just exactly what I'm doing. But if you're looking for a basketball play specifically, And say you don't like hockey, right? You don't want to play hockey, which is fine. By the way, we have one hockey play, and it's the Coyotes Oilers to go under, and that's my only leg 3 for tonight. But just, say you didn't want to play hockey and you really wanted to just do a basketball pick, I would go, if I had to, I'd go Lakers as my leg 3. The only reason I'm doing hockey is because I don't like doing too many leg 3s if I don't need to. And we don't need to run a bunch of leg 3s. We've closed most of our sequences, and we can definitely pick our spots. We got college basketball tomorrow. So that's the reason I don't rush leg 3s when we don't need to. So you can see that I'm just plugging in over the last couple days, leg 2s and leg 3s to finish out these sequences. And that's how simple the system is for anyone that's new. And now for some of these, you can see I got on the Bulls, I got the money line plus 135. On the Blazers, we're getting plus 175. And again, I went over this in my last video. When we're hitting leg 2s for plus odds, it's paying obviously a better net than if we hit it on plus 1. So I really like that. It's not something I intended. It just happens to work with our system. And Bucks cover Spurs. If the reason again, if you don't know my rhyme or reason for making a leg 2, leg 3, I think you'll find it out relatively quickly. If you haven't seen many of my videos, I won't really pick coin flips for leg 2s. I'm going to pick teams that I think the public is really fading, and I'm going to take teams that I think absolutely need to win, like the Blazers here. I think they need to win this game, or they're basically out of the playoffs, which is fine, but I think they have enough draws to not knock them out, especially if they have the Magic still in the playoffs. And I had them staying in because it doesn't make sense to knock teams out when you don't need to. But, yeah, if the Magic are staying in, I just don't see the Blazers getting booted out with 10 games to go. They have it's just not smart for ratings and all that. So, yeah, we got a couple leg 3s to plug in. The Kings didn't cover for us. Like I said, the Kings are just whatever I do, the opposite happens. So last night I did go ahead and take the opposite of who I had the Kings covering, and I just said in my video, I went over it. I said I'm going to go with the Celtics because I'd normally go with the Kings. So I went with the opposite, and we're 1-0 now since picking the opposite of Kings matchups. Let's see how we finish the season because we were abysmal just picking how we actually thought. But yeah, so you can see, we have quite a bit of leg 2s, and then my leg 1s are mostly the ones that, I'm not in love with. Hawks, Wolves, you got injured guys on both sides, so even with the playoff ramifications, I could see them giving that to the Wolves. So I kept it as a leg 1. Rockets, Grizzlies, a big spread. Again, the only reason I went with the Bucks on the big spread for a leg 2 is because of how many darn points it is. 17.5 is just insane. So yeah, I just want to go over my rhyme and reason. And like I said, my only bet hockey play of the night is going to be this under here, and that's our only leg 3. If you really want to run the Lakers as leg 3, I think it's a good one, but I stuck with leg 2 because, again, at the end of the day, I'm not loving the fact of the Lakers being 2 games, 3 games, whatever it is, in the playoffs. I think them coming down to the last game of the season, and I talked to a few people about this. They play the Jazz the last game of the season, so coming down to them playing the Jazz and the winner gets in makes much more sense than they're already in it by a game or 2. So I think they're going to do all right, but like I said, the games the Lakers win are going to be the ones like this, where people have them losing, in my opinion. So take care. We got college, like I said, college basketball tomorrow, so we'll be doing more tournament play, and baseball's coming up real soon. So take care and happy earnings.